Who do we trust? We're in Isaiah chapter 10. And the prophet Isaiah is speaking to those in the southern kingdom. But in this reading, as he's speaking to those in the southern kingdom, he's reflecting on the events that have happened in the northern kingdom. So to give you a quick history, the lesson here, the northern kingdom fell to the Assyrians in 722 BC. And then eventually later, about 150 years later, the southern kingdom will fall to the next empire, that is of the Babylonians, around 587 BC. So we're kind of like in this in-between period where Isaiah is warning the southern kingdom that what happened to the northern kingdom will happen to them as well, unless they change their minds, their hearts, and their attitudes. And again, if they answer the question correctly, who do they trust? Because he sees the southern kingdom falling into the habits of the northern kingdom, and it's the same habits that we fall into. And so today's first reading, Isaiah is prophesying against the Assyrians who conquered the northern kingdom. But the reason why the northern kingdom conquered, the Assyrians conquered the northern kingdom is because those in the northern kingdom placed their hearts, their trust in their alliances with foreign nations and their wealth. And in their alliances and wealth with the foreign nations, they also adopted their worship and adopted their pagan practices. For them in the northern kingdom, it was making sure they were kind to their neighbors, making sure they assimilated with those around them. And in that trust in worldly powers, ironically, it was a worldly power that conquered them. And so Isaiah is telling the Assyrians that really the same way in which the northern kingdom trusted in worldly powers, the Assyrians who also relied in worldly powers will also come to an end one day. And he's saying this as to those in the southern kingdom, place your hearts, your minds, and your trust in the power of the Lord God. And so for us, it's the same habits. We just repeat the same patterns of Israel. We repeat the same patterns of the Old Testament and New Testament. We tell ourselves that we will be okay if A, B, and C line up. If our retirement account is fine, if our savings is fine, if the living situation is better, if we have enough friends, all these things, okay. If I have all these things in order, I will be okay. But none of those things, notice, is about the covenant and about our faith in God. And then also when we're in trouble, we're in peril, where things aren't going well, do we turn to God? Is our first thing to relate all of our thoughts, feelings, and desires over to God? Or again, is it into the worldly powers and material possessions of this world? Seeking comfort in the media, seeking comfort in, whatever it is that we do. But in the seeking comfort, it's all everything except God, everything except our faith, everything except the covenant. You'll be surprised when we look deeper within ourselves how much do our hopes and thoughts and concerns pertain to many things, but not to God. And it's easy to fall into those habits. It just happens. We don't even realize it until we look back and we reflect on it. We don't get this in the first reading, but in verse 20, God tells us the intentions for the Assyrian conquest. And he goes something along the lines of, may the Israelites once again lean on the Lord their God rather than leaning on others. And maybe for us, we can do the same. May God bless you.